Well, it's been an Sorry, our producer's telling us about his pizza preferences.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to have a piece right
I
now.
would like to
Bring
bring it out. We're hungry, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, active day in the tropics.
Yeah, it is. You know, as we talked about, it's near the peak of the hurricane season. You would expect a lot of activity. The good news is, though, it doesn't appear that we're going to have any impacts by any of the systems. So, yeah, it is good news. We'll talk about that in a bit. KCK webcam showing some clouds and showers off in the Gulf of Mexico as the sun was setting. Most of the action staying offshore, too. It looks as though we won't see much of a chance of rainfall, at least over the next 6 hours. But then right around sunrise, we should have some shower development in the Gulf, and those will have a tendency to move on shore. But all in all, not a lot of activity in the morning hours. Most of it will be in the afternoon. And Darcy sending this a nice rainbow in that you see right there. A nice shot. Looking out over Sarasota Bay. A beautiful shot there. Appreciate that. And this one comes from Joanne, and this is over the Manatee River. And Joanne getting a beautiful shot of the sun shining on some of these clouds, these cumulus clouds, and a few cumulonimbus clouds out there in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, big storms still around the east of the center of our tropical storm. Still a tropical storm, still holding on. And in fact, as I told you earlier, it could actually strengthen a little bit over the next 24 hours, and then shear is going to rip it apart, I think, by the latter half of the weekend. There's a little line of low pressure out in the Gulf of Mexico extending right through central Florida, and this is bringing instability in the atmosphere across much of the eastern Gulf. Now, the atmosphere has really got a lot of moisture in it in the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere, and so the storms that do develop will produce some pretty heavy rainfall for a short period of time, though, because they are going to be moving fairly quickly off to the northeast. The rainfall amounts today, not all that impressive at all. Northport had some showers around. We had a little bit of activity right near the coast, near Siesta Key, and the rainfall estimates are not all that, as I said, high at this point. Currently, we have 83 degrees. The dew point is at 76. It's warm. It's muggy, yes, and winds are out of the west, southwest at 7. The pressure, thankfully, is on the rise at 30.06 inches. And 90 was the high, 89 the average, and 95 the record set back in 1995. This morning's low was above it at 78 degrees. 1/1800ths of an inch of rainfall. That's it at the Sarasota Bradenton Airport today. And it looks as though temperatures are still very warm here and in the Keys, 84 Key West, 82 now in Miami, and 78 degrees now into Orlando. Temperatures around the area near the coast in the low 80s here, from Bradenton at 82, 81 in Northport, Punta Gorda at 81 degrees. A little bit cooler inland, upper 70s there. Lows tonight will be into the mid 70s inland, upper 70s right near the water. 76 degrees in Venice, the expected low temperature. Lakewood Ranch will drop down to around 78 degrees, and Parrish at 74. Longboat Key should be at 78 to start things off tomorrow. As I mentioned, there could be a few morning showers. Now, we talked about all the activity out there. Tropical Depression 12 is soon to be Tropical Storm Carl, we believe. Ian is out there in the open waters of the Atlantic moving northward, and we have Julia. Top winds are at 40, and a disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico has a very little chance developing as it makes its way west, away from the west coast of Florida. Now, as far as the forecast path and track goes, it heads off to the east for a little while, then moves back toward the west, and eventually gets knocked down to a tropical depression by Saturday. At least that's the thinking at this point from the National Hurricane Center. And as far as the system out here is concerned, I checked the long-range models on what could be Carl, and it looks like it will eventually move off to the west and then get caught into a weak area of two high pressures and head off, similar to what we're seeing now with Ian. So that would be a good sign. Looks like the forecast calls for it a westerly track at around 10 miles to 15 miles an hour, and eventually making a bend in about 5 days from now. So that's what we'll look at, though. We'll watch it closely. Things can change very quickly. Southwest winds at 5 knots. Not much of a wind out there. Light chop for the bays and inland waters. Seas running 2 feet or less. Water temperature still very warm, 87 degrees. And as far as the tides go, the upcoming tides, high tide will be at 12:30, and a low tide will be at 6:23 tomorrow morning. Tonight, a few showers possibly rolling in from the Gulf. Otherwise, partly cloudy. Low temperatures mid-70s. Tomorrow, a few downpours quickly moving through. 40% chance for scattered storms, and the extended forecast calls for a chance for scattered storms right through the weekend at 50%. High temperatures still warm, still summer-like, right around 90 degrees.